Welcome back to Ultra Business Insight. Today we're diving into a company that's literally saving lives, Transmedics. They're doing some really groundbreaking work in organ transplantation. And, to help us unpack all of this, I've got Sophia here, our resident expert in all things medical tech.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So let's start with the basics. For our listeners who might not be familiar with Transmedics, can you give us a quick rundown of what they do?
Sure. Transmedics is a company that has developed a revolutionary technology. It's called the Organ Care System, or OCS for short. And this system essentially keeps organs alive outside the body for a much longer time than traditional methods allowed.
That's incredible. Can you elaborate on that? How much longer are we talking about here? I know with the old icebox method, it was always a race against time.
Oh, it really was. Just imagine with the OCS, a donor heart, let's say from New York, could be viable for transplants in California.
Wow.
That's the kind of impact we're talking about, extending viability by up to 24 hours in some cases. It's completely reshaping the logistics of organ transplantation.
That's mind-blowing. It really highlights the life-saving potential of this technology. I'm curious, how exactly does the OCS achieve this? What's the secret sauce?
Well, it's not magic, but it's pretty close. The OCS mimics the conditions inside the human body. It's like creating a mini ICU for the organ. The system continuously supplies the organ with warm, oxygenated, and nutrient-enriched blood, almost as if it were still inside the donor.
Wow, so it's like giving the organ its own little life support system during transport. It sounds like a major step forward from just putting an organ on ice and hoping for the best.
Absolutely, and one of the really amazing things is that the OCS allows doctors to monitor the organ's function in real time. They can actually see how the organ is doing during transport and assess its viability even before transplantation.
So it's not just about keeping the organ alive longer, it's also about giving transplant teams more information and control. That must be a game changer in terms of transplant success rates, right?
Yes, definitely. Having that real-time data and the ability to assess the organ before the transplant takes place reduces uncertainty and the risk of complications. This can lead to better outcomes for patients.
It's incredible to think about the impact this is having on people's lives. Now let's talk about the business side of things. How does Transmedics make money from this life-saving technology?
Their main revenue stream comes from selling the OCS device to hospitals and transplant centers. But it goes beyond just selling the hardware. They also generate revenue from providing consumables and accessories that are needed to operate the OCS. They offer service and maintenance contracts, and they conduct specialized training programs for medical professionals.
So they've created this entire ecosystem around the OCS, which is a smart move. Now, I understand Transmedics has taken their commitment to organ transplantation even further with their own logistics network, right?
Yes, they have. They recognize that transportation is a critical piece of the puzzle when it comes to organ transplantation. So they created the National OCS Program, or NOP.
Okay, tell me more about this NOP. How does it work?
It's quite impressive, actually. They've purchased their own fleet of planes specifically designed for organ transport. When a donor organ becomes available, a specialized team is dispatched to retrieve the organ, connect it to an OCS, and fly it to the recipient hospital. It's a streamlined turnkey solution for hospitals, and it helps ensure that organs are transported quickly and efficiently.
Having their own fleet of planes, that's a pretty unique approach for a healthcare company. It really speaks to their dedication and the innovative nature of their business model.
It does. It's a perfect example of how they're not just innovating in terms of technology, but also in terms of how they deliver that technology and support the entire organ transplant process.
Absolutely. Now, we've talked a lot about Transmedics and what they do,
Yeah.
but I'm curious, are there other companies out there doing similar work?
Yes, there are. The field of organ preservation and transport is attracting a lot of attention, and there are a few key players to watch.
All right, let's dive into that next.
So some of the main competitors, you have companies like Organox, Ex Vivo Perfusion, and Paragonix Technologies. They're all working on developing innovative solutions for organ preservation.
What are some of the key differences between Transmedics and these other players?
Mhm.
What sets Transmedics apart?
One of Transmedics' biggest differentiators is its focus on what's called warm perfusion technology.
Warm perfusion. Remind me, what exactly is that?
So it's all about keeping the organ in an environment that closely mimics the conditions inside the human body. The OCS constantly circulates warm, oxygenated blood through the organ, providing it with the nutrients it needs to stay healthy.
So it's almost like the organ doesn't even realize it's been taken out of the body.
Yeah.
That's pretty ingenious.
It is, and this warm perfusion technology is particularly important for organs that need to travel long distances. With traditional cold storage, the longer the transport time, the greater the risk of damage. But warm perfusion helps mitigate that risk, allowing organs to be transported further and increasing the pool of potential recipients.
That's a huge advantage, especially given the critical shortage of donor organs. Are there any other aspects of Transmedics' business strategy that you find particularly noteworthy?
Absolutely. Their strategic decision to create a comprehensive ecosystem around their technology is quite impressive. The National OCS Program, or NOP, as we discussed, is a perfect example of this.
You know, I have to admit, I was pretty blown away when you mentioned they had their own fleet of planes. It's not every day you see a healthcare company going all in on logistics like that.
It's certainly not conventional, but it really demonstrates their commitment to removing any obstacles that stand in the way of successful organ transplantation. They've gone above and beyond to ensure that time is never a factor when a life-saving organ becomes available.
So they have these planes standing by, ready to go at a moment's notice.
Mhm.
Talk about taking the time is of the essence concept to a whole new level.
They do. They have dedicated pilot crews and specialized medical teams available 204/7 to retrieve and transport organs. And they've strategically located hubs across the country to ensure they can respond quickly to any donor organ that becomes available, no matter where it is.
It's truly remarkable. Learning about Transmedics has been a real eye-opener. They're not just a company, they're a force for good in the world, pushing the boundaries of medical innovation and saving lives in the process.
I completely agree. They're a great example of how business can be a catalyst for positive change, and I'm really excited to see what they do next.
Me too. So speaking of the future, what's on the horizon for Transmedics? What are they working on now that has you particularly excited?
They're always innovating, but one development that I'm particularly interested in is their new lung and heart OCS technology. It's still in the preclinical trial phase, but the early results are incredibly promising.
Can you tell us a little more about that? What makes this new technology so promising?
Well, it builds on the success of their existing liver OCS, but it's specifically designed to address the unique challenges of preserving and transporting lungs and hearts. These are incredibly delicate organs, and they've historically been much more difficult to transplant successfully. This new technology has the potential to be a real game changer in that regard.
It sounds like a major breakthrough. What kind of impact do you think this new technology could have on the field of organ transplantation as a whole?
I think it has the potential to significantly increase the number of lung and heart transplants that can be performed, and that would be absolutely transformative. Imagine the impact on the lives of patients who are currently waiting for these life-saving transplants.
It's inspiring to think about the possibilities. Transmedics has set a very ambitious goal of reaching 10,000 transplants in the U.S. by 2028. Do you think this new technology will play a key role in helping them achieve that goal?
I think it's certainly possible. If this new technology lives up to its potential, it could be a huge step towards reaching that ambitious target. It's a bold goal, but given their track record of innovation, I wouldn't bet against them.
You've painted a very optimistic picture of Transmedics and the future of organ transplantation.
Hmm.
But I know that bringing new medical technology to market is never easy. What are some of the challenges Transmedics faces in making its vision a reality?
You're absolutely right. It's never a smooth road. One of the biggest challenges they face and will continue to face is the high cost of their technology. The OCS is a sophisticated piece of equipment, and that sophistication comes with a hefty price tag.
That makes sense. I imagine that cost could be a barrier for some hospitals and transplant centers, especially those with limited budgets.
It definitely can be, and Transmedics has had to work hard to demonstrate the value of its technology and the long-term cost savings it can offer. More successful transplants mean fewer complications and shorter hospital stays, which ultimately translates to lower overall healthcare costs.
So it's about shifting the focus from the upfront investment to the long-term benefits. That's a compelling argument.
It is, and they've been quite successful in making that case. The rapid growth of their national OCS program is a testament to that. But cost will continue to be a factor they need to address as they expand into new markets and reach more patients.
Are there any other hurdles they need to overcome?
Another significant challenge is navigating the complex regulatory landscape both in the U.S. and internationally. Medical device regulations vary widely from country to country, and obtaining approvals can be a lengthy and costly process.
I can imagine. It sounds like a delicate balancing act, pushing the boundaries of innovation while also making sure they're meeting all the necessary regulatory requirements.
It absolutely is, but it's a challenge they're well equipped to handle. They have a strong regulatory team and a deep understanding of the global landscape.
What do you see as the long-term impact of Transmedics' work? How do you think this technology will shape the future of organ transplantation?
Well, I think it has the potential to completely transform the field. The OCS is already making a significant difference, and as the technology continues to evolve, I believe it will become even more impactful.
Can you give us a glimpse into what that future might look like?
Imagine a world where organ transportation is no longer a race against time, a world where organs can be transported across continents, significantly expanding the pool of potential donors and recipients, a world where organ viability assessment is more precise, leading to even higher transplant success rates.
Yeah, it sounds like a future filled with hope for the thousands of patients who are currently waiting for a life-saving transplant.
It does, and I believe that Transmedics, with its commitment to innovation and its dedication to saving lives, will play a key role in making that future a reality.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. Your insights into the world of Transmedics and the future of organ transplantation have been truly enlightening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great conversation.
And to our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating and rapidly evolving world of organ transplantation. Transmedics is a company that's pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and we can't wait to see what they achieve in the years to come. Until next time, keep those minds curious and remember that innovation combined with a commitment to making a positive impact can truly change the world.